Okay. Right, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me honor to introduce our next eminent guest for the day, Mr. Atul Tripathi. Mr. Atul was a big data and artificial intelligence consultant in National Security Council Secretariat with Prime Minister Office, New Delhi, India, working in the field of application of artificial intelligence for national security. Sir is a data scientist with 16 years of experience and interest in artificial intelligence, social media, multilingual, unstructured data processing and analysis. He has worked extensively on the AI policy and data protection policy too for India. Mr. Atul is a member of Leaders Excellence at Harvard Square and GARP, that is Global Association of Risk Professionals. He has been ranked sixth in top 10 speakers and thinkers who have been influencing thoughts of the nation by Speakin, which is Asia's largest platform of speakers and thought leaders. Mr. Atul has developed strategies and self-learning applications using AI for national security, IoT, IoE, IIoT, Indian Railways, shipping, human speech recognition, image processing. Mr. Atul has also been teaching analytics, machine learning, anti-money laundering, risk management, artificial intelligence, and policy implementation at various universities and institutions and industries. He's a well-known keynote speaker at various forums. He's an author of machine learning cookbook publications, and the book has been translated in Chinese too. Sir is an advisor for setting up Data Science Center at ISER Mohali. He is advisor to various academic councils to a number of universities as well. Sir has got a very diversified and a unique profile. And with this, I would not like to take much of the time and would not like to come in between the audience and Mr. Atul. So I would request Sir to share his words of wisdom with all of you, and over to you, Atulji, for your session now.
So, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time and for your kind words. I hope I'm audible to everybody, right?
Yes, sir. You are.
Great. So, what I want to talk about, I'll just take where the last speaker, Mr. Amanjot, had left, and the question that the director, ma'am, had, whether the government is implementing the ideas of blockchain or not. So, ma'am, just to give you an insight, the government is very keen and has been working with a lot of private sector companies in India where they are applying the blockchain technologies to solve a lot of problems. So I can tell you for sure in Punjab they are doing it for the healthcare industry, or rather for the public health. So they're digitizing all the data. In UP they're digitizing the land records on the blockchain. In fact, some of the states like Telangana and Andhra have taken a lot of lead in it. In fact, Visakhapatnam is called as the blockchain capital of India. So anybody who's interested among the student community to pursue a good career opportunity in blockchain can contact me, and I can help you get some good people who are working in this field, and they're doing some really exciting work, both technical as well as non-technical. So my point that I want to talk about is not about technology. Technology is easily available. You just go to the internet, go to the YouTube, you'll get enough gyan on it. That's freely available. Just take it. What I want to share about is okay. I want to make a say I have, as a student, I always have this question in my mind. I have got an idea, or I want to have a good job in any of these fields of analytics, AI, blockchain. What should I do? What is it that I need? What skills do I need to bring so that I can get a good job, or I can get a good idea, and then I get a good VC funding and I set up my own startups. I am a strong believer in doing something of your own rather than getting hold of a job and working for somebody else. And something, nothing wrong with that. I mean, even I am working for somebody, definitely. But I have a strong belief that if you have the will and if you have a brilliant idea, if you have that spark of an idea, you should go ahead and you should do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And you look at some of the most successful startups in the world, Facebook, Google, they all came up from the college community. So it was not an established, experienced person who was working in the industry for a long time and has a good experience, therefore he was able to do it. No, ideas are independent. So question happens to be, how do I generate that idea? What kind of skill set that I need in order to take it forward? in my life. That's one thing I want to talk about. So just a second, please. I hope the screen is visible. It's changing, right, ma'am?
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Okay.
Although I have a request from the audience that if sir can put his camera on as well, so we would like to
Sir doesn't look.
have a look
By the
out.
way, you can tell the audience that the sir doesn't look very nice, so he is trying to avoid. He's had a bad haircut in the lockdown.
All right, sir. We towards the end of the session, we could have a Kodak moment so that we could capture those memories. So no issues,
Okay,
sir.
okay, sure, sure, sure.
Over to you.
Actually,
Over to you.
sure. So the question that happens to be in mind for everybody: what is this data science? What is this analytics? What are the differences? Why should it be there? What am I going to gain? So one of the fundamental fuzziness in the mind that happens is, what is this data science versus analytics? Why should I be not looking at data science? Why should I be looking at analytics? Why should I be looking at big data? So this entire idea of analytics versus data science versus big data, there has to be very clear cut demarcation in our minds itself. So when we look at big data, what is it? It's about crunching of numbers, information. Rather than numbers, it's more of an information. Now, information can be any source. It can be a source of numbers as we know it. It can be in terms of images. Images are also information, by the way. So is speech. That's also information. And I'm speaking to you, you're speaking to me. It's also an information that is passing. Can we collect the speech? Can we process it for a better? So let me give you a very classic example of speech. Alexa. What is Alexa all about? Or or any of these other so-called platforms, they're all about. You know, these are speech recognition platforms. They're collecting information. They're collecting data. Whose data? My data, your data. Why are we giving it free? Nothing comes free in life. USC has anybody? I'm sure the student community and all of us must have seen the new WhatsApp policy that has come around. That's very important. So information is the key. Data is the key in the entire game. And how do you process it? The manner in which you process your data is the entire, missing block or the fundamental block in this entire game of analytics versus big data versus data science. So right now, generally we are looking at the business intelligence level, but we know, you generally look at prepare a very good report on an Excel sheet and you make good standardized dashboards and all, and you spell it out. And, oh, very good, very good. But business analytics is more than that. It's about forecasting. It's about statistical analysis. It starts all the way from analysis and it takes you to optimization, because it's all about ensuring that your businesses are running at the optimized level in order to generate maximum value or maximum profit, which is the objective of the any organization. But the question happens to be, how do I become a good data analyst? What is known as a good data analyst? What kind of skills? So one of the big analysts, as an analyst, you should be very good with your Tableau, with your Excel, with your SQL. These are the kind of skill set that you'll need. Very good knowledge of business. Please understand, technology has its own role, but business is the key. So I always give this example of the cake. You know, let me put it this way. In a cake, what do we like? Icing is good, but if the bread of the cake is not very good, it's very hard, or it's not been baked very well, then the cake is of no use. It becomes, I may put up the best of the icing, but it's of no use. So the bread of the cake is very key to the entire cake. If the bread has been baked properly in a right proportionate manner, then the cake looks and tastes very good. So business is your cake. It's the bread of the cake. Icing on top of it is the technology. So technology enables the business. Technology is an enabler, but understanding the business is very key. So let me give you an example. Say I am a mining company. Now, for me, optimization would mean something very different for say optimization for a banking industry. Why do I say that? In case of optimization, for me would mean, as a mining company, it would mean optimizing my periodic downtimes for my vehicles, for the where can I mine my best of the minerals, how do I optimize my resources, how do I optimize my labor management. In case of a banking industry, it will mean something else. So take example, if I was to take, the bread, you have to understand how do you bake the bread. So as management students, you should be having very, very deep knowledge of the business. You should have really understand what exactly is the requirement of the business that wants in life. Now, one of the things that you need to have is we generally tend to think, okay, in order to become a data scientist, analytics professional, or anybody of that nature, we need to be an engineering background person or a statistics or a mathematics background person. No, it's not required. You can also be a business or an MBA student, and you can still gain to this world. So it's a very simple transition. If you want to become a good business analytics person, you should have you can move to either predictive analytics modeling professional. You can take up something around, say, things like time series analysis and all these things. You should be very good with your skills around that area. That brings me to another question: is we generally tend to think, okay, big data means data scientist. That's it. End of the story. If I'm not a data scientist, I cannot be a big data engineer. I'm sorry. There are multiple roles available, and all of them qualify for every or is applicable for all of us. You can be a if you're good with your quality engineering. Data quality engineers are high in demand. We don't get them when we are building up teams. Trust me, we don't get data quality engineers. It's very difficult field to get into. And the reason is because you have to understand the business. You have to understand how the value of the data is. So what is relevant for a particular business may not be relevant for a B particular business. So that has to be understood by the person concerned, the value of the data that is there. How do you keep it? How do you organize it? Similarly, business intelligence engineers, somebody who wants to be doing a lot of modeling, and somebody who's to want to do a lot of SQL work, fetch out information, do a lot of business and intelligence analytics related work, displaying of information and all that stuff. So it's available. These are the kind of roles that are there in today's world as far as the business intelligence community is concerned. Another question that comes to mind is, okay, how does a modern data scientist look like? What are the skills that you need to do? If I want to aspire to be a data scientist, what do I need to do? One of the things that you need to do is to have a very, very strong understanding of mathematics and statistics. Please understand, this game of data science is all about the game of probability. It is nothing is certain. You are only stating with an X probability that an event may or may not take place. So if we are in Delhi, sitting in Delhi right now, and if we look outside our windows, we can say with a certain probability that it might rain today. But whether it will rain or not, Lord only knows about it. Only Lord Almighty has the idea. So that is why did I bring this example, is because you see the entire game of data science is based on the fundamentals of mathematics and statistics. You should understand your mathematics, you should understand your statistics. And when I say statistics, I don't mean mean, median, and mode. They're very important, but you have to go beyond that. You have to look at the game of probability. Probability is the key. You know, you need good probability skills. You need good programming skills. You need good visualization skills and communication skills. Now, this is very important. I stressed a lot on the domain skills, but one of the very important and underrated area of this entire game is communication. You see, this entire thing is about storytelling. So whose story are we telling? We are telling the story of the data. What is the data trying to tell us? That I'm here, this is what I look like, please tell my story. But whom do I have to communicate? I have to communicate to the senior decision makers of the companies or the organizations. That means I should have a very clear cut ideas of what I need to do in life. How do I communicate? So communication can also mean speaking, it can mean writing, very important skill, very underestimated skill, writing. And one very important skill is displaying of information. So I don't know how many of you have visited a platform called as publictableau.com. All those who haven't visited, I would request that you please go there and visit. And trust me, it's a very wonderful site. It's an extremely interesting area, and it's an extremely, I would say, it is like a de-stressor for anybody, you know. And this area has got a big potential. So trust me, when I'm trying to build up a team, one of the biggest challenge that I face ever is, can I get a good visualization person? Because you see, it's a mix of an art and science. Why do I say that? Now, how would this let's look at this particular slide itself. Would the slide look better if the spectacles of the two characters were removed? Would it look better if we were having a gray background or a blue background? I don't know. It's a matter of a perception. So as they say, beauty lies in the eyes of beholder. So is the case of communication and visualization. So visualization is a very, very big area. And all those who are aspiring there, I would suggest that visualization should be taken up very seriously. And it can give a very good and long-term thing. So some of the skills that you need to have is Flare, D3JS, Tableau. These are all publicly available. Also, those who are free believers in free systems, R packages, Python packages, all that areas available, and you should explore these areas. So it's all about storytelling skills, translating the data-driven insights into decision-making and automation systems that are there. That brings me to another question. Okay, I want to become a data scientist, big data scientist. What do I need to do? What are kind of skills that I need to do? What are kind of things that I can bring on table? So you can become an analytics manager, you can become a BI specialist, you can become a data visualization developer, something we just discussed in the previous slide. You can become an architect, statistician, machine learning engineer. Options are multiple. Choose what you want to be. It's your world. Explore it. That's what I always say to everybody. You are the young people. Go ahead. This is what we call as general path that is to be taken as far as the getting the insights of how do I become a good data scientist and all. One of the biggest things is high sense of curiosity. Something is happening, an event is happening continuously. Why is it happening? Look beyond it. Look beyond your what you generally find out. Look beyond the storylines. Look deep. Have a good communication skills, teamwork. Please remember, we are not James Bonds out here. We all have a teamwork out here. Everybody's playing a role. So teamwork is very key skill. Interpretation skills, presentation skills, very important. You can make the best of the models, but if you cannot explain what is the value of that model to the company, what would the company do with it? Tell me. No use to anybody. I can make the most complicated models, but nobody is able to understand. The company is not able to derive a business value out of it. What use it is of that model of me? I will have to tell to the organization, I have to tell to the senior management, who generally are not very technically savvy people, because they have so many things to do. So we'll have to communicate to them in a clear-cut manner that this is what you are going to gain out of doing this activity. So if I was to go to a CEO of a company and tell him I want X amount of money to set up a data science practice, he'll say, very good, go ahead, please do it. But then he'll ask me, the next question he's going to ask me is, what will I do with this data science? Tell me that. Why should I bring this data science practice into my organization? That is where I have to tell him that these are what your lacunas are. These are where you're, where you're lacking, and this is where science can fill up your holes and bring a value proposition for your organization. So very, very key skills are required. Similarly, one of the questions that happens to be, how do these roles interact among themselves? What is the role of a data scientist? What is the role of a business stakeholder? What is the role of a data engineers? These are very, very, very important things. If we don't look at it very closely, we'll never be able to gain deep insights. But most importantly, if you look at all the three interactions, if you look at this Venn diagram and the middle part of the Venn diagram, it is about monetization, it's about operationalization, it's about bringing better governance systems, it's about hypothesis development, which brings in better monetization of the value propositions for everybody. That's very important. So this is a general path that is often mentioned regarding the career or how you become a big data or AI ML engineer. So one of the, again, you should start all the way from mathematics, database, understanding. So any one of the paths you can take and you can specialize. Trust me, it is a big, big area. You don't want to complete the path after a programming skills. You want to say, I want to stick around with programming. Go ahead. Nothing wrong with it. You say, no, 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 programming is not my cup of tea. I want to become, I have a good knack for making good stories, and I'm very interested in all this Tableau stuff and the D3JS stuff that is shown. Can I become a good visualization engineer? Yes, you should. You should aspire to be one of them. Anything you can take up, any of the path, if you want to complete, if you don't want to complete the path, nothing wrong with it. You can take up any one of them. I will skip for the want of time. Now, the question that was being discussed was about a blockchain. So I will not talk about what is a blockchain because that has already been discussed. Question happens to me, I want to become a blockchain engineer. What do I do? How do I become a blockchain expert? So one of the important websites that you should visit is this blockchain council-council.org. I hope this is visible. This is a very important website. You can visit there, and there are a lot of, I would say, suggest a lot of certifications that are available, and you may choose as per your skills. So you can become a blockchain developer, you can become blockchain legal consultants are required. By the way, these are all of them. So you see, legal consultants, that means you need lawyers. experts, blockchain architects, you know, project managers are required. You need quality engineers, as I was talking about, data quality engineers. How do you manage? This is all everybody's specialization. Nobody can specialize in all of them. It's not possible. You can choose up any of the paths that you want to do it. It's up to you, entirely your prerogative. Which one do you want to do it? So another thing that I want to talk about is very important thing. Okay, I want to develop a career in blockchain, but I'm not a very technical person. What do I do? How do I become one? So this graph, this the entire image actually talks about how do you do, what do you need to do if you want to become an expert in it. So you don't have any very technical skills. You're not interested in technology, building. No problem. You have the ability to understand business blockchain. Which one would you like to take? Would you like to take business foundations training? Would you like to take healthcare professionals and patient empowered blockchain? You can take a blockchain marketing sales professional. You can become. You can become a business leader. You can become a blockchain healthcare professional. So many things are available. You are a technical person. You are interested in. Okay, fine. Go ahead. You can become an architect. You can become a blockchain security issues. Cyber security and blockchain have become quite interlinked. Let me tell you. And this is a very big area. Cyber security is a very, very big area, and everybody is looking towards it. The country is very hungry towards it. So that brings me to another point. I'll just, before I wind up on this point, that brings me to another point is, the country right now is looking towards cybersecurity and data privacy of privacy experts. All those who are interested in becoming data privacy experts and who all are interested in having a great career in this area, please go ahead. There are certifications available on GDPR, Global Data Protection Regime, and also the India's data protection bill that is coming up in Parliament now. So by March, we'll be having our own data protection act. That would be another area that we're looking at. There are things like that. If you don't want, if you're not interested in taking up technical jobs, technical areas, no problems. There are multiple areas that are open for both for technical as well as non-technical people. So this is not constrained area at all. That brings me to another question is, okay, as I said, blockchain-council.org. You can take any one of these certifications, and trust me, they are all high in demand in the industry. All of them. So you can become a CUDA architect, or you can become a Hyperledger developer, you can become a Hyperledger expert. These are some of them. By the way, this is not the entire thing. There are multiple such things that are there, and you should explore each one of them as per your choice and your area that you want to specialize in and take your career forward. These were the points that I wanted to bring up. Okay, another thing that has come up is, since we are in the topics of developing careers, one of the things that has come up is very high in importance is the GIS, Geo Information Systems. What is it all about? It's about layering of information. So you have multiple layers of information which is being deployed and displayed on the in the maps on the high security systems. So this is another very big area. GIS experts are high in demand, and we don't have many. Anybody who's interested, please go ahead. There are enough areas out there to be taken up as a GIS expert. So some of the areas, tutorial websites that you may like to visit for taking up your own interest is, as I mentioned, like GitHub and CodeWall. All these are famously available. News sites are there. There are tutorials out there. Gaming sites are there. There are hackathons happening. Jobs that are there. Hired, LinkedIn, Guru. All these areas. You can take it up. It's your career, your life. Choose one that you want to be. That is all I wanted to tell about from my side for the career development perspective. So I will be very happy to, take things, questions. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for indeed explaining the concept very well. And also, I hope for the students, the major inquisitive part was their career progression and how they could enter into this field. So I hope they would have got the insights now. And with your permission, I'll move to the Q&A. And we have some good questions in the chat box, and I'll take it up with you.
Certainly.
Uh, so there is one question from Ms. Prakshi Garg, and she wanted to understand that as she's a student of commerce and she want to make herself ready for data scientist job profile. And she got to know that on YouTube that Python is a language which is an importance for data scientist profile. So will it be enough to directly learn Python, or should she develop her base from learning C++ as well?
Okay, so Sakshi, the one question, the important point is you are coming from a non-technical background. So there's nothing wrong with it. You can definitely take up. Your question was regarding Python. You can take up Python programming directly. Nothing wrong with it. You don't need to go through all the programming stuff of C, C++. Directly jump into Python. There are enough tutorials available. You can get your hands dirty. Go to GitHub. Go to various other websites. You'll get enough data available. Kaggle is one site that you'll get enough data. You can take it up. Freely available data sets are there. Just jump into it and go ahead. Nothing wrong with it. Don't have to wait for things to be done on C, C++, and then take it forward.
All right, thank you, sir. So I hope Prakshi, you got the answer. So start learning Python and you could directly move on to the language now. So there is another question from Ronak, another one of our PGDM student, and he wants to understand that do data analytics is also related with marketing research?
Yes, data, as I said in one of in one of my slides, I'll just share that thing again, just for your benefit, just a second, I'll just share that thing. I'll just tell you how they're related or with marketing research and everything else, I hope the slide is available, visible to everybody, right?
Uh, yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see, Ronak, this is the area that we are looking at. This is what is market research all about. This black areas, alerts, drill downs, ad hoc reports, standard reports. This is all about business intelligence. It's called market research. If you want to move up the value chain in today's world, you have to go into this area, the blue area, the business analytics area, statistical forecasting, predictive modeling, analysis, optimization. So you are actually right now in this particular area, you have to move up the value chain into this area right now. They're very, very correlated. It's not even correlated, they're exactly the same as they are to themselves.
All right. So I hope Ronak, you've got your answer. Atulji, am I audible and visible
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you?
yes, I am
All right.
audible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. Actually, my screen
no
was
problem.
freeze for 10 seconds, so I thought
No
there's some
problem.
network
No
glitch.
problem.
All right. Okay. So there is another question which says that with so much of data available, it is difficult to dig down and access the insights that are needed more. So what could be done to make it more simpler so that employees can fully analyze data, which can truly add value to the organizations?
The only way you can add value to the organization by drilling into the data is to understand the problem itself. So let me give you another example. I go to the doctor and I tell him that I am having a bit of a stomach upset. It's a very simple question. Please prescribe medicine to me. He will start asking you questions like, what did you eat yesterday? What have you been eating last 5 days? Where did you eat? Do you eat outside? How frequently do you eat outside? How much do you smoke? What is your drinking habits? What is your lifestyle? When do you wake up? When do you sleep? How much stress levels you have? And then you'll start thinking about it to yourself. Why is this man asking so many questions? Why so many questions are being asked to me? I mean, when it's a simple question of, I'm having a stomach upset, please help me out. He is not asking you, he's asking himself. He's trying to figure out all the data points so that he can prescribe the right medicine. Similarly, when you're looking at so much of data, you'll have to understand the right problem statement. You must get deep into the problem statement. And trust me, this is the most difficult part of the game. This is where 60% of 70% of the time is spent understanding. Everybody has all the ideas, but ask them to write down. It is very difficult. So trust me, when I'm writing a report or anything I'm writing, first 1,000 words are the key. If I can write down those first 1,000 words in a proper manner, or the first page, if I can write down of my report in a proper manner, I know I have solved the problem. But trust me, to write down that first most difficult one, because I will have to speak to so many stakeholders, and everybody has an idea, but nobody has a solution. Everybody's thinking, but nobody is able to spell it out. So you have to get into people's mind. You have to understand. You have to interact with them. You have to get down to specifics. That is the key to solving any problem in a data world of data analytics and data science.
All right. Thank you, Atulji. I hope, Ronak, you have got the answer to your question. So there is one more question which is popping up again from the students and which relates with mathematics as a background for data scientists. So they want to know that is it very essential to be to have an interest in mathematics as many of them are from non-maths background also. So but they would still like to use business data for business growth.
Correct. So, ma'am, let me put it up this way. You don't need really, if see, there are so many roles that are available where mathematics is not required at all. Why are you getting, if you're not interested in mathematics, why are you getting interested in that area? Why don't you become a good visualization expert? I don't get somebody who's a good visualization expert. Trust me on this. And it has got nothing to do with math. It's got everything to do with a sense of an art. It's a mix of an art and science. And they are very high in demand by this.
Right.
I mean, I really don't know whether a orange color on this particular images would look better or a blue color images would look better. I really have no ideas. But perhaps if you give me choices, then I can think over it. Can we represent this entire slide in another manner? Perhaps yes, but please help me out. How many visualization experts do we get? So there are so many things, you know. Okay, you are interested in becoming a data scientist, go ahead. Mathematics is the fundamental, but why would I force myself to get into an area that I'm not very keen on?
True.
You know.
True. Right. So I hope students data science has a option for everyone and anyone who would like to venture into it, provided that what you are interested at and what you would like to explore to use. Sorry, sir. Please.
I said I'll just take one second on the same point of new careers in data science. You know.
Sure, sir. Sure.
You know, one of the big areas that has come up in the world of data science is and AI is the field of ethics. The ethical applications of data science. We don't have experts on that. We just don't know. So let me give you an example of the ethical applications. You know, the very famous example of a driverless car going down the road. And in front of it, it sees a young child and an old woman. Whom should the car save? It's an ethical question. It has got nothing to do with science and technology. If I was driving the car, perhaps I would have tried to save both and hurt myself and and rammed my car into the tree or somewhere divider. But then you see, that's an ethical question. That's an ethical decision I took as an individual, as a human being, because I have feelings, I have understandings. But how do I take that decision when I'm an automated piece of machine? I don't have feelings. An automated piece of machine doesn't have feelings. Can somebody help me understand these areas? These are ethical questions, and these are big areas that are open, and we don't have experts on that. There are so many opportunities. There are so many things that are available on these areas. You know, you just need to look a bit further. Just my idea is don't look at the beaten down track. You know, there are no ABCs of success. Success is something you have to define for yourself. I mean, I have known so many. I mean, let me give it this way. Let me put it this way: Mark Zuckerberg, a college dropout; Bill Gates, a college dropout; Dhirubhai Ambani, not educated; Ellen Mitchell, St. Xavier's College, commerce background graduate. I can name so many successful people. It doesn't mean that education is not important. Education can also mean knowledge. Knowledge can be acquired with or without degrees. It's a very simple rule of life. Even a farmer, everybody has a knowledge. It's a question of applying them. It's a question of applying your skills, applying your knowledge in the real world. There's enough knowledge available. Collect it, apply it as per your requirements. That's the key.
Very right, sir. And students, as has already mentioned by sir, that sky's the limit for you to explore, to learn, and then later use all that knowledge and your skills into your career progression. Data science has a requirement for each one of you, irrespective of the background, may it be arts, science, or computers or commerce. But yes, you have to look up to the right profile, right career where you would be interested in. Build your skills in that area, along with the technical skills. Build the along with domain and technical skills. Build your soft skills as well, which, as sir mentioned, are going to be an integral part of every data science job. May it be reporting, may it be visualizing, and yes, very another important point, which sounds very interesting to me as well, and to many of our faculty colleagues. I can see on the screen ethical value being attached to it. True, we've been talking about technology, we've been talking about robotics, but yes, ethical value is something which needs to be explored further. That how do we integrate these two? And I'm sure there is a lot to learn and a lot to venture out. So with this, thank you so much for such an interesting and enriching session. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure because for students, and especially those who are into final years or who are into management programs, career progression is something which they would definitely wanted to know, that how they can venture a career into this domain. So your session has given them answers to most of their queries, and I'm sure they would use these inputs in their forthcoming future